The first person to laugh was Sami Neri. He stood beneath the wedding canopy in a robe the color of ripe grain, one hand resting on the marriage bowl, while Mina pointed past him and chose the grave digger. For one sharp second, nobody understood her. Then Sami threw back his head, the sound rolled across the ceremony ground, and the people of Aruwa joined him. Women covered their mouths, young men bent at the waist. Even the drummer forgot the neck strike because he was laughing too hard to lift his hand. Juma Deka stood alone beside the outer fence with red earth dried across his feet. He had come only because every household had been ordered to witness the council leader's daughter marry the richest grain merchant in the kingdom. He had not entered the decorated ground. Men like Juma buried respected families. They did not celebrate with them. Mina kept pointing at him. "I choose Juma Deka." The laughter broke apart. Sami's smile remained, but it no longer reached his eyes. Mina's father, Bako, rose so quickly that his carved stool tipped behind him. "Lower your hand." Mina did not. The marriage beads around her neck trembled against her skin, though her voice came out steady. "I have named the man I will marry." "You have insulted your family." "No, father. I have refused the man you selected." Sami's fingers tightened around the marriage bowl. The white clay along its rim cracked beneath his thumb. Juma wished the ground would open and take him before every face turned his way. His pulse struck so hard in his throat that swallowing hurt. He had endured children calling him corpse boy. He had heard women warn each other not to let his shadow cross their cooking pots. He had buried men who mocked him in the morning and received secret payment from their sons at night. But nobody had ever used marriage to mock him. He looked at Mina and found no laughter on her face. That frightened him more. Bako stepped down from the family platform. "Mina, come here." She walked in the opposite direction. The crowd opened before her. Indigo cloth brushed red dust. Gold shells clicked softly at her waist. She crossed the full ceremony ground until she stood before the man no respectable bride was expected to touch. Juma lowered his voice. "Go back." "No, they will forgive this if you go now." "I did not ask them to forgive me." "You do not know what you are choosing." Mina's eyes held his. "I know about the grave without a name." The blood left Juma's face. 3 nights earlier, he had knelt beside that forbidden mound beyond the red hills. He had pressed his palm to the packed soil and heard a faint knock answer from below. Nobody had followed him. Nobody was supposed to know. His fingers curled around the handle of the small digging knife at his belt. How? Mina reached for his hand. The crowd gasped before she even touched him. Her palm settled against his dirt-marked fingers, warm and firm. A thin stream of black soil slipped from beneath the edge of her untouched wedding cloth and scattered between their feet. Juma stared down. The earth was not red like the ceremony ground. It was dark, damp, and almost black. Burial grove soil. Near the family platform, Juma Deka stopped smiling. Juma's widowed aunt had been enjoying the confusion more than anyone, but now her sharp eyes fixed on a small black bead sewn beneath Mina's cloth. Sira knew that bead. She had last seen it around the neck of Mina's mother on the night the woman disappeared. Mina was about to answer the question that could destroy both families. Before she did, remember to subscribe to African Folktales Ember House. Every subscription tells us to keep bringing you powerful African stories filled with mystery, love, and consequences. Now listen carefully, because the gravedigger had just noticed something beneath her wedding cloth. Juma turned Mina's hand over. Soil filled the fine lines of her palm. Did you enter the burial grove? Not far. That place is forbidden to your family. That is why I need to become part of yours. The words cut deeper than the laughter had. Juma pulled his hand away. So this is not marriage. You want a key. Mina's mouth opened, but Bako reached them before she could answer. He seized his daughter's wrist. Juma moved without thinking and caught Bako's forearm. Every elder on the platform rose. Juma released him at once, but the damage was done. The grave digger had laid a hand on the council leader in front of the whole kingdom. Bako's voice dropped. You have carried enough dead men to forget how the living punish disrespect. Juma held his gaze. Then punish me. Do not bruise her. Mina pulled free from her father. For the first time that morning, the crowd did not see a dirty outcast begging to be spared. They saw Bako Sela step back from him. Sami saw it too. This is grave magic, Sami called. Look at her hand. Look at that soil. He has clouded her mind. Murmurs spread through the gathering. A woman dragged her child behind her wrapper. One of the marriage helpers dropped a tray of kola nuts. The nuts bounced across the ground and nobody moved to gather them. Mina faced the crowd. Juma did not call me. He did not visit me. He did not offer me medicine, money, or promises. Sami lifted the cracked marriage bowl. Then why would Bako Sela's daughter choose a man who sleeps closer to corpses than to people? A few nervous laughs escaped, but Mina's stare killed them quickly. Because the men who fear his work still beg him to hide their shame. Sami's face hardened. Mina looked toward the council platform. Several elders suddenly found the ground interesting. Juma understood what she was doing. She was not only defending him, she was warning every powerful family whose secret burial he had handled. Bako understood too. You will return to your place, he ordered. Mina reached for Juma again. This time he stepped back. He wanted to believe the courage in her voice. He wanted to believe she had crossed that ground because she had seen him as a man long before she needed the Deka records. Wanting it made him feel foolish. He had spent 29 years teaching his heart to expect nothing from anyone who wore clean wedding cloth. Answer me, he murmured. Do you want me? Or do you want what I know? Mina's chin lifted, but pain flashed across her face. Both. The marriage drummer raised his hand. Bako turned on him. Do not strike. The drummer froze. An old law hung over the ceremony ground. Any unmarried woman of Aruwa could name her own husband before the final marriage drum, and no father could undo the choice if the man accepted before the last sound faded. The drummer lowered his hand. Bako smiled without warmth. There will be no final strike. Sira clicked her tongue and pushed through the crowd. She wore a faded indigo wrapper, copper rings at her wrists, and the expression of a woman who had buried too many stubborn people to fear another one. So this is the strength of the Great Council, she called. One frightened drummer and a marriage bowl with a crack. The crowd shifted. Someone coughed to hide a laugh. Bako's jaw tightened. This does not concern you. It concerns my family when your daughter points at my nephew as if she has finally found good sense. Even Mina nearly smiled. Sira stopped beside Juma and studied the black bead under Mina's cloth. Her humor vanished as quickly as it had come. Where did you get that? Mina covered the bead with her fingers. Bako's head snapped toward it. That small movement told Juma more than any confession could have. His father used to say that guilt first appeared in the eyes, then ran to the hands. Bako's hand had already closed around the council ring on his finger. Sami stepped between Mina and Juma. Enough! The bride is confused. Take her inside. He reached for her shoulder. Juma caught his wrist. This time, he did not release it. You have touched her for the last time. Sami leaned closer, his smile thin. You think one mad choice makes you equal to me? No. Juma's grip tightened until Sami's fingers opened and the cracked bowl fell into the dust. It makes her choice stronger than you. The marriage bowl split in two. A deep drum strike rolled across the ceremony ground. The sound rolled through the square so heavily that several birds burst from the roof of the council hall. Everyone turned toward the drummer. His hands were still raised above the skin. I did not strike it. Nobody laughed now. The drum gave a second sound on its own, softer than the first, but deep enough to make the marriage beads at Mina's throat tremble. Juma looked at the black soil between their feet. A narrow line had formed through it, pointing away from the ceremony ground and toward the red hills, toward the burial grove. Sira saw it too. Nephew, whatever answer you give it before the earth gives one for you. Juma faced Mina. Her courage was still there, but so was fear. It sat behind her eyes, honest and unhidden. She was not pretending to understand what had just happened. That mattered to him. He held out his hand. If I accept you, there will be no hiding behind your father's name when the village turns cruel. I know. My house has one sleeping room, a leaking corner, and a goat that dislikes everyone. I have lived with Sami's mother for 3 days during harvest season. Your goat cannot be worse. A startled laugh moved through the crowd before people remembered they were supposed to be afraid. Juma almost smiled. You will hear things in the burial grove that you may wish you had never asked to hear. Mina placed her palm in his. Then do not let me hear them alone. Juma turned towards the drummer. I accept Mina Sela as my wife. The drummer's hand came down at last. The final strike shook dust from the canopy poles. Bako stared at his daughter as though he no longer knew her face. Then his gaze moved to Juma. You have taken what does not belong to you. Mina stepped beside her husband. I am standing here. I was not taken. You think this man will protect you from what you have disturbed? Juma caught the tremor beneath Bako's anger. It was small, but it was there. What did she disturb? Bako's eyes went to the black bead once more. Then he turned his back. The council elders followed him from the square, except for Toma Kenny, the oldest witness among them. He remained seated with both hands resting on his walking staff. For a moment, Toma looked at Juma as though he wanted to speak. Instead, he turned the council ring on his finger inward and lowered his eyes. The wedding ended without music. No women came forward to escort Mina. No young men lifted Juma onto their shoulders. The bowls of food prepared for hundreds remained untouched beneath the trees. Sira picked up one covered pot and balanced it against her hip. If fear has ruined their appetite, it has improved mine. Mina looked over the abandoned feast. Can 3 people eat all this? Sira examined Juma from head to foot. 2 people and my nephew. Juma gave her a tired look. By sunset, Mina had left the largest compound in Aruwa with 1 wooden chest, 6 baskets, 3 folded sleeping mats, 2 clay lamps, and a carved mirror Juma suspected was worth more than his house. He stopped outside his gate. You said you were bringing only what you needed. I did. Sira pushed past him with a basket. Do not argue. She has already left 4 baskets behind. The Deka compound stood at the edge of the village where the path began to rise toward the burial hills. Its walls were clean but plain. Bundles of drying herbs hung beneath the roof. Juma's digging tools rested in careful order against the eastern wall, each blade washed and wrapped. Mina noticed the small room beside his. A fresh sleeping mat lay on the raised clay floor. A folded indigo cloth covered the low stool. The walls had been newly repaired. She ran her fingertips across the smooth clay. "When did you prepare this?" Juma set down her chest. "Before the rains." "You prepared a room for a wife before I chose you?" "I repaired an empty room." Sira snorted from the doorway. "He repaired it 3 times. Juma closed his eyes. Mina smiled for the first time without the whole village watching. That smile unsettled him more than Bako's threats. He moved toward the courtyard. "I will bring water." Mina caught his sleeve. "Juma." He looked down at her hand. "I did not choose you only because of the records." "Only?" "I had seen how you treated the dead long before I needed anything from you." His jaw tightened. "That is not the same as knowing me." "No, but it was more than anyone else bothered to see." He pulled away gently and left for the well before hope could make him careless. Inside the room, Sira shut the door and held out her palm. "The bead." Mina hesitated, then loosened the hidden stitch beneath her wedding cloth. The black bead dropped into Sira's hand. It was smooth on one side and split on the other, with a thin line of gold running through its center. Sira's breath caught. My mother wore it? She wore 12. Mina's knees weakened. She sat on the edge of the sleeping platform. They told me fever took her. They told everyone that. Did you see her body? Sira closed her fingers around the bead. No. The courtyard gate creaked. Both women fell quiet, but the footsteps outside were too light to belong to Juma. A small bundle landed beside the water jar. Then someone ran. Mina reached the doorway first. The path was empty. Only dust moved beneath the fading light. Sira crouched beside the bundle without touching it. A strip of burial cloth had been wrapped around 3 pale bones. Mina's stomach turned. Sira studied them and clicked her tongue. Goat bones. You are certain? I have prepared more bodies than Sami has eaten honest meals. These came from a goat. A message had been drawn in charcoal across the cloth. Not in words, but in the old burial mark for an open grave. Juma entered carrying 2 water pots. He saw the bundle and stopped. Mina expected anger. Instead, his face became completely still. Do not touch it. Sira says the bones are from a goat. The bones are not the threat. He set down the pots and pointed to the burial cloth. That cloth came from my father's final bundle. Sira looked at him sharply. You kept it locked. I did. They hurried to the storage room. The wooden chest beneath Juma's tools stood open. Nothing else had been disturbed. The copper coins remained in their bowl. His father's digging knife still lay wrapped in leather. Only one folded strip of burial cloth was missing. Juma knelt beside the chest. Sami had not merely sent a warning. Someone had entered the Deka compound while the whole village watched the wedding. And whoever had done it knew exactly which object would make Juma afraid. Mina crouched beside him. Who knew where you kept it? Sira? Me? My father. Sira folded her arms. One of those men has been missing for 18 years, and I was carrying your bride's cooking pots. Juma examined the chest latch. It had not been broken. A smear of red clay marked the edge, and one sandal print crossed the floor. Mina leaned closer. That print is too small for Sami. He pays people to use their feet for him. Juma followed the mark outside. It ended near the rear wall, where a roof reed had fallen into the dust. Tied around it was a yellow thread from Sami's robe. Mina reached for it. Juma stopped her hand. Too easy. You think he wanted us to find it? I think whoever entered this house wants us looking at Sami. Sira's face hardened. Then we should ask who benefits when the gravedigger and the grain merchant tear each other apart. From beyond the wall came a scrape. Juma rose and pulled the gate open. Nobody stood there, but in the soil beside the wall, someone had pressed the council ring into the earth. The same ring Bako had hidden in his fist at the wedding. Juma stared at the mark until the light faded around it. Mina stood behind him, one hand pressed to her stomach. You saw my father turn that ring inward. I saw him hide it. Then we ask him. Juma rose. He will deny it. Let him deny it while looking at me. They reached the cellar compound after dark. The front courtyard was still bright with oil lamps, but the wedding decorations had already been pulled down. Torn cloth hung from one post. The feast tables were empty. Servants moved quickly and avoided Mina's eyes. Bako sat beneath the veranda with two elders beside him. Sami stood near the steps. He had changed out of his wedding robe, but the yellow thread at his cuff matched the strand found behind Juma's wall. Mina placed the burial cloth and goat bones on the ground between them. Someone entered my husband's home. Bako's face tightened at the word husband. Sami glanced at the bones. The grave digger brings filth to your father's house on the first night of marriage. Sira, who had followed with the bundle, laughed once. Filth? These bones belong to a goat. If Juma wished to curse you, he would choose something with more sense. One elder covered a cough. Sami's cheeks darkened. You expect us to trust the judgment of a woman who washes corpses? Sira leaned forward. I expect you to know the difference between a man and a goat, though tonight has made that difficult. Mina almost smiled, but Juma's attention remained on Bako. He pressed his thumb into the soft earth near the veranda and drew the shape of the council ring mark. This was left beside my wall. Bako looked at it for less than a second. Too little for an innocent man. Too long for a man who did not recognize it. Any child can copy a council mark. Then show me your ring. The courtyard went still. Bako's hand closed. Mina stepped closer. Father, this questioning ends now. Show us. Bako stood. You abandoned this family before the final drum. You do not enter my house and command me. I entered as your daughter. You entered wearing the name of a grave digger. Juma felt Mina's body stiffen beside him. He had been insulted often enough to let the words pass through him. Mina had not yet learned how to do that. He hoped she never did. Sami moved nearer. Come home, Mina. Admit he confused you. Your father can still repair this. Mina faced him. Did you send those bones? No. Did you enter Juma's compound? No. Then why is thread from your robe tied behind his wall? For the first time, Sami's answer came slowly. My clothing was handled by servants all morning. Bako cut in. This proves nothing. Juma nodded. That is true. Mina turned to him in surprise. The thread was placed to be found, he continued. The ring mark was placed to be found. Someone wants us accusing both of them. Sami's mouth curved. At last, the corpse carrier shows a little thought. Juma ignored him. Thomas sat in the shadow near the far wall. Juma had not noticed him at first. The old man's walking staff lay across his knees, and his council ring was missing. Juma looked at his hand. Thomas folded it beneath his cloth. Bako stepped between them. Leave. Toma's eyes met Juma's. His lips moved without sound. Not here. Juma understood. He picked up the bundle. Mina did not move. What happened to my mother? Bako's expression changed. Only slightly, but enough. Sami looked from father to daughter. The two elders lowered their eyes. Bako's voice became quiet. Your mother died of fever. Where is her body? In the family tomb. I opened it. The words struck the courtyard harder than the marriage drum. Bako gripped the veranda post. Mina's breathing shook now, but she continued. There was no body. Only stones wrapped in cloth. Sami stared at Bako. Even he had not known. Bako's face lost all color. You entered that tomb. I did. You foolish child. No. A foolish child believes whatever her father tells her. I am asking where my mother is. Bako descended the steps until he stood close enough that Mina had to tilt her chin to meet his gaze. You have opened doors you cannot close. Juma moved beside her. Bako's eyes shifted to him. And you have no idea what walked through them. They left without another answer. By sunrise, Sami's men had already carried a different story across Aruwa. They said Mina had broken into her mother's tomb under Juma's spell. They said the empty grave proved the Deka family had stolen the body for dark burial work. They said livestock would die, children would dream of the dead, and no cooking fire near Juma's compound would burn clean. Before midday, a crowd gathered outside his gate. A woman held a dead chicken by its feet. My bird stopped breathing after your wedding. Sira examined it. Your bird stopped breathing because its neck is broken. The woman looked offended. That happened after it died. Of course, perhaps it broke its own neck to strengthen your argument. A few people laughed, then tried to hide it. Juma took the chicken and showed the crowd the bruising beneath its feathers. Someone killed it. A young boy near the back blurted, Sami Sevan gave my brother 2 copper coins to leave it here. His mother slapped her hand over his mouth. The crowd turned. Sami's servant ran before anyone could seize him. By afternoon, the goat bones, the chicken, and 2 jars of blood left near Juma's doorway had all been exposed as tricks. The blood belonged to slaughtered sheep from Sami's own storehouse. For a few hours, the village's fair changed direction. People began whispering that Sami had staged the curse because Mina rejected him. Juma should have felt relief. Instead, unease settled deeper inside him. Human lies were easy to uncover. The black soil beneath Mina's wedding cloth had not been a lie. Neither had the drum. That evening, Mina found him washing his father's old digging knife beside the water jar. You believed me today? I believe the evidence. That is not the same. No. She sat beside him. For a while, neither spoke. The courtyard smelled of wet clay and crushed leaves. Somewhere beyond the wall, Sira argued with the goat about ownership of a basket. Mina watched Juma dry the blade. My mother used to tap 3 times on my door before entering. 2 slow, 1 quick. Juma's hands stopped. Why are you telling me? Because 3 nights ago, beside the unnamed grave, I heard it. He looked at her. 2 slow knocks, she whispered. Then 1 quick. Juma set down the knife. My father used the same pattern when he wanted me to open the storage room without waking Sira. Mina's skin prickled. That cannot be chance. No. He rose and went to the locked chest. From beneath the remaining burial cloth, he removed a flat wooden handle broken from an old digging tool. Dark stains marked one edge. Mina touched the carved symbol near its base. It matched the line inside her black bead. Juma's voice came rough. I found this beside the unnamed grave the morning my father disappeared. A knock sounded beyond the compound wall. Both turned. 2 slow knocks, then 1 quick. The sound came again, not from the gate, from beneath the ground. Mina gripped Juma's arm. The courtyard floor lifted, then settled. Sira came from behind the house. Her smile disappeared when the knock sounded again. Inside, Juma ordered. Mina did not move. It knows we are here. No, it knows you are here. The earth beneath Mina's feet darkened. A stain spread through the red clay like water soaking cloth, but no water had been spilled. Sira whispered an old burial prayer and backed away. Juma caught Mina around the waist as the ground dipped under her left foot. For one breath, she felt something press upward against the sole of her sandal. Not a stone. Fingers. She tore her foot back, choking on a scream. The ground became still. Juma held her tightly, his heart pounding against her shoulder. We go to the grove now, Mina said. It is nearly dark. That is when it calls. Sira shook her head. That is why sensible people stay home. Juma picked up his father's broken tool. Tonight, sense will not save us. Juma barred the compound gate behind them and handed Sira a small oil lamp. You stay between us, he told Mina. Sira lifted the lamp. She chose a gravedigger in front of the whole kingdom. I do not think staying behind anybody is one of her gifts. Mina would have smiled on another night. They followed the hill path beyond the last houses of Aruwa. The moon had not yet risen. Their lamp threw a narrow amber circle across the red earth, leaving the trees black and crowded on both sides. The burial grove began where the ordinary path ended. No fence marked it. No sign warned travelers away. The ground simply changed. Red soil became dark. Crickets stopped. Even the night wind seemed unwilling to cross. Juma pressed his father's broken tool against the first burial stone. Do not speak the name of anyone buried here, he warned. Do not answer if a voice calls from behind you. And if the lamp goes out, hold my hand before you move. Sira glanced at Mina. Marriage advice from a Deka man. Romantic, practical, and mostly about surviving the dead. They moved deeper into the grove. Rows of low graves passed beside them, each marked by a carved stone and a small clay bowl. Juma knew every person resting there. He could have walked the path blind. Tonight, something had changed. Several burial bowls had been turned upside down. Sira stopped at the first one. Someone came before us. A branch cracked ahead. Juma raised the digging tool. Thomas stepped from behind a silk cotton tree, breathing hard. His walking staff was gone. Mud covered the hem of his council cloth. Mina stared at his bare hand. Where is your ring? Thomas looked toward the unnamed grave, where it has been for 18 years. Juma's grip tightened. The mark beside my wall came from that ring. Yes. You entered my compound? No. I gave the ring to your father. The answer landed like cold water. Toma swallowed. He came to me the night Mina's mother disappeared. He asked for proof that a council elder had witnessed the burial. I gave him my ring. By sunrise, he was gone. Mina stepped closer. Who was buried? Toma's face folded with shame. I never saw the body. Then what did you witness? A lie. Toma lowered himself beside the grave as though his legs could no longer carry the weight. The council called us here after midnight. Bako said a dangerous woman had died and that her burial had to remain secret until morning. The mound was already closed when I arrived. Your father stood beside it with blood on his sleeve. He would not look at me. Juma's fingers tightened around the broken handle. Was he injured? I thought so. Now I believe the blood belonged to someone else. Mina crouched before the old man. Why did you never ask whose blood it was? Toma met her eyes. Because I was afraid of the answer, and fear can make an educated man behave like a fool for years. Sira's face hardened. Fear did not close this grave. Hands did. No, Toma whispered, but fear kept it closed. From the hill path came the scrape of many feet, followed by angry voices and the hiss of torches moving through leaves. Torchlight flickered between the trees behind them. Voices rose along the path. Sami had brought half the village. Men and women entered the grove carrying torches, hoes, and hunting spears. Some looked angry. Most looked terrified. Sami walked at the front, with Bako beside him and 2 council elders behind. Bako saw Toma and stopped. You should have remained silent. Toma's shoulders sagged. I remained silent for 18 years. Sami pointed at Juma. There he stands, holding the dead man's tool beside the grave he used to curse Mina. Mina moved in front of Juma. You planted bones outside our home. You killed a chicken and called it magic. You paid children to spread fear. Sami's eyes flashed. And now the earth speaks beneath your feet. Did I do that too? The crowd murmured. Juma faced them. Some of what frightened you was a trick. Some of it was not. If you came for truth, lower your weapons. If you came for blood, leave the grove before it takes more than you intended to give. No one moved. Then the unnamed grave knocked. 2 slow sounds, 1 quick. Mina's breath caught. The crowd recoiled as one body. A torch fell and died in the damp soil. Bako closed his eyes. Mina turned toward him. You know that rhythm? He did not answer. She stepped closer to the grave. Mother? Juma caught her wrist. The soil shifted beneath the stones. Bako's control finally broke. Do not call her that. Mina turned. The pain in her face was quiet, which made it worse. Then tell me who is there. Bako looked at the villagers, the elders, Sami, and finally his daughter. Your mother was never placed in that grave. A sound moved through the crowd. Mina's knees nearly gave way, but Juma steadied her. Where is she? Bako's voice became thin. She escaped Aruwa. You told me she died. She would have died if she stayed. Who was hunting her? Bako looked toward the elders. Toma answered. The council. Sami's confidence faltered. Why? Toma's mouth trembled. Because she discovered that grain meant for the famine stores was being sold beyond the river. Children were starving while council families grew rich. Mina looked at her father. "You were part of it." Bako said nothing. That was answer enough. Juma's anger rose slowly, hotter than shouting. "My father helped her escape." "Yes," Bako admitted. "He prepared a false burial so the council would stop searching." "Then why did he disappear?" Bako's gaze fell to the grave. "Because he returned." Sira lifted the lamp higher. "Returned for whom?" The knocking came again. Two slow, one quick. Toma began to weep. Bako stared at the stones. There was a witness, a council clerk who kept copies of every sale. Your mother would not leave without him. Juma's father tried to bring him out after the false burial was sealed. Mina looked from Bako to the grave. "You buried the clerk alive." "I did not know he was alive." Thomas struck the earth with his palm. "You heard him knocking." Bako flinched. The whole grove seemed to hold its breath. Thomas' voice rose. "We all heard him." One of the elders dropped his torch. Sami backed away from the grave. "This is council business." Mina turned on him. "You wanted to join this council. I knew nothing of this. You knew enough to help them silence us." Sami's face twisted. He seized Mina's arm and pulled her away from the grave. Juma crossed the space before anyone else moved. His hand closed around Sami's wrist. "Release my wife!" Sami swung at him. Juma blocked the blow and shoved him backward. Sami stumbled over a burial stone and fell hard into the mud. Nobody rushed to help him. Mina freed herself and returned to Juma's side. Bako looked at them together, and something inside him seemed to collapse. "If you open that grave, Aruwa will learn everything." Mina's voice shook. "That is why it must open. You may not like what comes out. I have lived inside your lies since childhood. Whatever is beneath those stones cannot be worse than that." Juma knelt. He placed his father's broken tool into the narrow gap beneath the first stone. Sira caught his shoulder. "Your father told you never to open it. He also left the work unfinished. He may have had a reason." Juma looked at Mina. She was afraid. So was he. But she did not step away. He pressed down. The stone shifted with a grinding sound. The crowd moved back. A smell of damp earth escaped from the opening, followed by air so cold it dimmed Sira's lamp. Juma removed the first stone. Beneath it lay tightly packed soil and a strip of cloth darkened by age. Mina knelt beside him. The knocking stopped. For 3 heartbeats, nothing happened. Then the soil rose. A hand pushed through. Mud filled the nails. A council ring circled one finger. Toma screamed. The hand opened and caught Juma's wrist. From beneath the grave came a broken breath. Then a man's voice whispered Mina's childhood name. Comment part 2 if you want to know who was breathing inside the unnamed grave.